Hey there! Did you know Kroger always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower-than-low prices? And when you download the Kroger app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Kroger today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest Anfield Index Under Pressure podcast. My name's Dan Kennett, and with me to discuss another win, another 3 points as we get the mighty Reds go 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League. We don't have the man everybody tunes in to listen to, Mr. Simon Brundish. He's on a 32-mile diversion because of Storm Jocelyn, so he has some access issues to where he lives in the rural Derbyshire. But please all stick around because I do have the other members of the A-team. He's our newest, most regular member. He's the Joe Gomez of the Under Pressure podcast. It's Mr. Hamzah Lunat, sports writer at the Times. Good evening, Hamzah.
Evening, everyone. Thanks. Yeah, I'm back again. And Joe Gomez is soon to be rotated if Andy Robertson's return to fitness is.
Well, this is where we'll have to go back to calling you Van Dijk again. You see, the Virgil of the podcast. Yeah. Right, but we do have our most qualified sports scientist. He's broadcasting live from his ivory tower in deepest, darkest Kent. It's Dr. Phil Barter.
How we doing, boys? Long time no speak, but what a win after join back in for, eh?
Absolutely, what a great win. But yes, you've missed a couple, haven't you? So
yeah, work's been mental, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. We're here to talk about a 4-0 win.
I hope you're keeping those that new PhD intake in cracking the whip. I hope they're not causing too much trouble for you, mate.
Of course not. Don't worry. Carrot and stick.
If you're looking for some data collection projects, right, I'm sure we can come up with some good ideas for them.
This is true. I mean, your post-shot one is probably one that needs a bit of a work on with them, I should imagine. Yeah.
I think that's a really good one. We'll come on to that maybe if we have.
We'll come on to that. Yeah.
We have a nerdy discussion maybe at some point about post-shot XG.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But we are here more importantly to talk about Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 4. And yeah, it's very much a game of two halves, Hamzah. But let's just start with that. Let's start with those that Liverpool lineup.
So, excuse me, sorry. As I just get my.
We just come back from a winter training camp. So
one thing that Klopp mentioned in the post-match presser was that it's great having a break. It's really good, but and he was quite keen to stress that he doesn't want to always sound like he's moaning. But he said sometimes we love rhythm, we have rhythm, but sometimes after a break like this, we feel refreshed, but we don't have rhythm. And I think that was telling in the match. What the most striking thing of the lineup was the construction, the deployment of the front three and where they were playing. So Luis-Diaz started on the right, Jota through the middle, and Nunez on the left. And we'll get into the changes made at halftime a bit later, but that was the idea there. And Klopp explained it after the match. He said the idea was that we don't quite have a specialist who can play in the right wing Salah role, but everyone sort of can do that. So we thought Nunez's qualities out on the left would have been fine. Diaz would have been great would have been also able to cope on the right, even though that's not his preferred position. And Jota could put in the middle. And in the midfield that we had Jones, MacAllister, Elliott, And the only question was whether Bradley would come inside or Gomez would, because Gomez was playing at left back. We ended up seeing Gomez coming inside a lot more. So it was a slightly different sort of inversion method. And I think maybe like 10 or 15 minutes in, there was a weird sort of a moment where Alisson rolled the ball out and MacAllister left it or didn't quite realise it was to him. And I think he was thinking at that point, wait, where's the other pivot player? So throughout that first half, there were moments where Liverpool weren't quite in sync. They're forcing play long, probably should have gone short, and vice versa. So a few things that needed ironing out, and but yeah, that was the sort of the idea, but it didn't quite work out in practice in that first half.
No, not so much the first half. We'll come on to that a little bit more. But Barts, I mean, we were going to get a full injury update from Sai, including the big one, Mo Salah. Before we get on, should we just touch on Salah quickly? Based on what you know and your sports science background as well, there were all those things about talking like a back injury and all that. That was plainly nonsense. It was always a hamstring, right? It was obvious it was a hamstring to you guys.
Yeah, obvious a hamstring. I think it's just, I hate using this as an excuse, but I think it's just been lost in translation. Because it was only the Egyptian FA tweet that had been translated into English from Arabic that had said back injury. Every other outlet had it as a hamstring injury. It was clear from where he was sat down, what he was holding, that it was a hamstring injury. I mean,
and what did Sai say? Middle of the
so I think it's semi. I can't remember. Too late for me to remember, but middle one, middle of the actual muscle as well. So not ideal. I think we have to be wary of the timescales given by his agent as well, because he's been getting quite a lot of slack from the Egyptian fans calling him a traitor for leaving.
Do you mean flack or slack by any chance?
Flack. Sorry, flack. Flack.
I was going to say.
Sorry, man.
Critical typo there.
Yeah, sorry. So we're getting quite a lot of flack for not hanging around and not putting country first and the rest of it. So his agent's come out and responded and said I think he said it was 20 days or something like that, which conveniently means that he won't be back till the semi-final.
Based on what you've told us in the past, that could be a grade 2 then, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's really hard without a scan. And it's probably, to be honest with you, the first, Sai would give a definite stat, the first soft tissue injury that Mo's had. He's had like knocks and little tweaks and the rest of it, but there's been nothing like this in his whole Liverpool career. So it'd be interesting to see how he recovers. He is in superhuman pristine condition, so he's probably the best you can have to rehab with, but he is older, so older tissues do take a little bit of time can take time to heal. I want to put negativity in here because the club seem to be painting a slightly different picture than his agent, but I think we'll wait and see on this one. He's back at Liverpool now, getting treatment, I believe, which is probably best given the facilities, should we say, that out there might not be what we're accustomed to with our multi-million-pound footballers. But isn't it as much about the routine and the methods used as the facilities, and the programs that they follow and stuff? 100%. And he knows. Our team knows all of his thresholds, all his data, so they know when he's near and not, and they'll do the analysis on him, and they'll be able to best judge that, rather than a whole new team being taught remotely, if you like, from our guys from England. So it makes a lot of sense to bring him home, get him sorted, and then touch wood, he's okay, you know. So
we Sai, when he first saw it in detail and saw the close-ups, he did actually put in all capitals, not good, in terms of the location and potential nature of the injury. So we shall see if it's 3 weeks. Brilliant, but let's see.
I mean, the thing is that we weren't expecting him to be back. Do you know what I mean? I know it's not great he's injured, right? But we were expecting him not to be back till after Arsenal anyway.
Yeah. But
do you know what I mean? It's kind of one of them.
This could be much longer than that now. This could be another week or two after that as well.
This could be after Burnley, So
So we did have another significant amount of injuries to contend with, as well as Mo Salah and absences.
Yep.
We had Szoboszlai, Trent, Costas, Robbo, Thiago, and Bajcetic, and Doak, obviously, if we count Doak. And none of those were on the bench for this game. It was quite a weak weak bench by our recent standards, Barts, wasn't it? The only real senior options were Gakpo and Gravenberch on the bench, but none of those other players I listed were available for consideration at all, were they?
No, they're not. I've seen today, unless I've completely misread the tweets coming out, that I believe Robinson, Dom, and one of the other injuries are back in training today, I believe.
Full training.
Full training. That's what's, I mean, as you can believe the Twitter sphere as much as possible. That seems to be what's out there. So whether I really hope they're not risk for Fulham, but there's a bit of as I would say, if you put all your eggs in your basket for a competition, you kind of need to see through the semi-final, right? So,
yeah. But I guess the good thing is that most of the team have had a full week of warm weather training instead of with no matches. Yeah.
Yeah. They would have done intensive stuff. They would have topped up where needed to. They would have done a recovery.
So were you expecting kind of similar team as played versus Bournemouth to Fulham with a more potentially a younger team versus? Is it Norwich FA Cup? It's Norwich, isn't it?
Norwich, yeah.
Maybe with some of the seniors returning for the Chelsea game.
Yeah, I think if you look at it now, I think I would say the same. You've gone heavy against Fulham at home. You've only got a 2-1. You can't now not go and finish that.
No, it'll be the team. It'll be the team.
It'll be the team. It'll be the team versus Bournemouth. FA Cup, I think if he's got any, he has to go strong against Chelsea. That's the following midweek, isn't it? Which you and I are there for. So therefore, to use that first team in that period of time, he's got to go weak against Norwich, or weaker, should we say? So I think the likes of Beck, Bradley will start a fullback at the weekend, probably maybe with Kwanzaa, and one of the senior centre halves, Clark in midfield, because midfield now is starting to get a bit tight with numbers. I know CJ apparently came off as being a pro. We're 3-0 up. I don't need to be on here. I feel a little bit something kind of come off before it gets worse type thing. But we've not heard anything yet from that, unless I've missed the presser today, so I don't know. But if that is anything, then I don't think he'd be risked against Fulham.
Yeah.
So but without him, we are really down to, you got Grav, you got Mac. Yeah, you've got to play Clark, haven't you, as the other player? So it's a bit of we're losing options. Whereas up front we were worried about it. Now we've got 4, with Harvey sort of operating fairly well in midfield. Is where we've got
maybe Kai Gordon versus Norwich, something like that as well.
Yeah, I think Norwich you'll see the likes of Kai Gordon. If Doak was fit, he'd have been playing. I think who's the other guy that came on, McClune or something with midfields? Is he another one? Made his home debut, one of the youngest players before Christmas.
Kane Doherty? No,
it's like a McClellan or something like that.
I'm not going to ask you to say that one again. That's for sure.
No, anyway. But I'm just saying. He there you go. Guys, put it in the chat. McConnell. I think you players like that will play against Norwich.
I love how you make the most basic names sound incredibly complex.
I know. I'm sorry, mate. I'm really sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. But just quickly, as a resident opposition scout on Bournemouth, Bournemouth had some absences to contend with as well. But they're one of the form teams of the division. They didn't change their approach, did they? They might have had some.
No, it was 4-2-3-1, playing out from the back. At one point they were passing across the 6-yard box, which is how much confidence they have for a kind of relatively mid-table side. We moaned about injuries. They had to change 3 of their back 4 for this game, all injured. So both fullbacks were injured from the previous game, and they changed 1 centre half. The rest of the team was the same though. So 2 sitters, 3 behind. Our ex-player, I can't get his name out. Solanke, who was 8 in.
One of the form strikers in the division.
Strikers. So, a strong lineup from them going forward, should we say? But at the back, I say weaker. They have Max Aarons in there, who was largely touted as being a future star at fullback at one point. So, I think that they just didn't have their maybe first choice back 4 at all for the game. But the rest of the side was fairly how they normally pick.
So, Hamzah, you touched on the stodginess in the first half. Klopp called it lack of rhythm. I think you could say that lack of rhythm, but I think one of the big things is there's a lot of these combinations of players have never actually played a competitive match together before, particularly that right side, Bradley, Elliott, and Diaz.
There was a lack of rhythm there, and it only becomes more sort of pronounced given that the players that they're coming in for are Salah, Szoboszlai, and Trent.
It's a little bit of a drop down, isn't it?
Yeah, as in the way the team plays is very different when those three players play as well, because while Trent comes inside, he also interprets that role in a unique way, and while Salah also cuts in and creates, he does it in a way that none of the other forwards can. Jota's probably the closest, but that's how he does it. And likewise, Szoboszlai and Elliott are very different players. You've got three different players coming in for three exceptional players, all of whom interpret the positions differently, and they haven't played together. So it's entirely sort of normal to see difficulties in understanding each other's like quirks and rhythms and little sort of intricacies that become rote and well rehearsed. Often, you let's say Trent receives the ball and he hasn't got his head up. Often he knows that Salah will already be running down the line, so he can play long. Yeah. Particularly without the pass. That isn't quite the case here because Bradley hasn't played with Diaz much, and Elliott hasn't played on this side with Diaz as much as well. Diaz on the right. Yeah, so there's all those sort of things as well. So yeah, it just becomes a bit more difficult. And McAllister is moving over from both sides as well to try and support these guys, and usually McAllister's on the left as well. So yeah, you could tell this was not a team that had trained together too much before, but I would also think it's the way that Liverpool played themselves into trouble from the first minute, but at the same time, Bournemouth in the first 5-10 were also quite good as well. Their pressing was quite sharp, and if there
it's been one of the stories behind Bournemouth's recent good form over the last 10 games or so is their high intensity and their especially not so much physicality, just running, just energy, and we were always going to have to match that, Hamzah. And I think if this game had been played last season, I think we could have been in serious trouble. There was a lot of work. We had to do a lot of work just to basically, even though nothing much happened that first half. You could easily see that last year we might have been 1 or 2 goals behind.
Well, one player in particular had to do a lot of work. MacAllister, right? For
sure.
Who was? Is that probably his best performance? It's definitely up there. I'm just trying to think of any other ones to bring to mind.
Sai, as you know, creator of the wonderful possession control metric, has said it's the best performance by a midfielder for 3 years. McAllister was a plus 13 possession control, which is just astonishing.
And for context, Curtis Jones was +2 and Harvey was -12, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, -12 from Harvey for a midfielder, that's bad. That's like Hendo levels of bad. Jones is pretty much around neutral, which is good for a midfielder, especially when he plays in an 8 role. So Jones having a +2, but +13, it's just astonishing. I mean, where our stats show, Hamzah, we should dive into some of the numbers behind Alexis MacAllister, because they were pretty.
Yeah, so on Opta, they've got him down as 9. Oh, actually, they have 2 sections for tackles. He attempted tackles on 12 different dribblers and completed those 7 times. Made 2 blocks, 3 interceptions, 1 clearance, blocked 2 passes as well. This was, I know I said either last week or the week before that I think his best position is a bit further up.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe that. I think he showed some of his best football there, and using that quote that I mentioned the previous week where he said that he wanted to kill Graham Potter because he was playing him deep, I still imagine that McAllister probably prefers to play a bit further up. But this was really, really good. He demonstrated the physical. He's not the biggest guy, but what he did was when he forced himself into challenges, he got his body across really well. When he was shielding the ball and screening, he again moved his backside into the opponent to shield the ball. I mean, people might laugh at that, but as in...
a player like Philip Billing has caused us trouble in quite a few times down the years with his physicality and his strength. And McAllister had no problem going toe-to-toe with Philip Billing a couple of times as well and getting the better of him. So, I mean, it was a really good sign. I mean, 20 duels in total of all times. He won 14 out of 20. He had 15 ball recoveries, which Gags always used to say it's not pressing data, it's not pressing, but we don't have the pressing data anymore. But that is a big number. And on the positive side, 72 passes, which is second most in the team, 88% pass completion, which goes a long way to explain his plus 13 possession control, along with his duels. And he had the most progressive passes in the team as well, with 4 chances created. So it's just astonishing numbers there on and off the ball, on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, he had 4 key passes as well, which is highest for the team as well. So,
wow.
Just looking at his numbers, I would say it's the best performance for Mac in a Liverpool shirt. He also had 12.1% of our total possession, which is second only to Konate.
Is that touches or is that time?
That's time. That's touches. Sorry, yeah. Time, he had 10.1% of the ball in terms of our time, which again is second only to Konate. So if you think about his position on the pitch, which generally the centre backs take a lot more time because we sometimes sterilise possession, that we keep it. For him to be up there with Van Dijk and Konate and those sort of elements is immense. I mean, he had 90 touches, which again is second. Konate at 97. So I think that's a very good shout from Hamzah to say that's potentially the best performance of the Liverpool shirt. Yeah, 10% of our EPV production as well, or XT, which actually, to be fair, as a midfield, I mean, Curtis Jones at 10.6, which is slightly higher, but all of our midfield created a fairly good amount of percentage of our total.
Also from Sai, he was top for distance in the match as well, 11.5k, which is a right old shift. So he literally did everything.
He did everything. And if you look at, for those who are in the BizPack online, I've done a few profile plots for everybody, looking at our players. Mac stands out. He's the standout midfielder. If you look at his pizza plot, whatever you want to call it, it's not radar because they're not connected. All of his pizza chart is all of his slices are bigger and above the positional average, which are the black dots on the grid, than any other midfielder. Interestingly, in this game, I did this to try and look at profiles of players, which is a bit weird, but it's just one of the things I do. All of the midfield profile the same. Generally, you have one who does a slightly different job than the other two. So all of the pizza slices are roughly in the same sort of high and lows as all the other three. As the starters, that is, both centre halves profile the same. Fullbacks profile very differently. Gomez is more of a centre back than a fullback, and our 2 forwards on the day, Darwin and Jota, profile exactly the same, which is probably may or may not be what you want. But yeah, so.
Yeah, well, we'll come on to the forwards in the second half, but one other big player in the whole match, but we'll discuss now in the first half where it was a bit quieter, Hamzah, was Ibrahim Konate. We said this was probably Alexis MacAllister's best game. This was one of Ibrahim Konate's best games for us as well. He was phenomenal.
Hi everyone. This month the channel is supporting a local charity based in Edinburgh called Steps to Hope. Steps to Hope helps support people who are experiencing homelessness and addiction. The founder of the charity, Richard Roncero, is currently doing a Sleep Rough campaign where he is sleeping rough on the streets in 8 different cities for 8 weeks. Please like, share and follow the Facebook page, and if you can, donate. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. He was top for aerial duels. Won 8, lost 2 for the match. Got a couple of tackles in as well, I think. Just trying to check. Yeah, got a tackle in as well. He was really impressive, really strong. And one thing I'm not sure if I mentioned it already, but I may have mentioned it before the pod. Bournemouth have the 4th highest long ball rate in the league.
Yes.
Their passes. So that's one of the things that they do. They're a very direct, forward-thinking team, not in a sort of classically sort of agricultural long ball way, but targeted, as in to move the ball forward quickly, break onto that, playing transition, force sort of mini transitions. And Konate was excellent. Swept up, covered space, moved the cross really well. It was a really good, mature performance.
But also, I think there was times last season and even this season where the opposition have let him have the ball because he's our weakest player on the ball. And I think it's fair to say in the last month or so, his distribution is significantly improved. And he's carrying as well, Hamzah.
Yeah,
he had two dribbles in this game and 190 metres of progressive carrying. I mean, it's not quite Joel Matip yet, but it's a big change.
it's something I think we've touched on before. He has a sort of rangy stride and gets his head up. It's not always the prettiest, but he does move the ball. But he is quick, and he moves the ball forward very quickly. And because he's quite big as well, some opponents, especially forwards, don't really fancy making that tackle once he's built up speed. So yeah, he commits players forward, commits players to him, then slips a pass off. Yeah, he's improved on that, and that becomes all the more useful because if there's one player in the team that opponents are going to let have the ball, it's going to be him because he's not as great as Van Dijk, he's not as great as Trent or Robertson or Alisson. And
but carrying to commit those opposition players, that's such a key thing, isn't it? So then it's not just 10 men in front of you. You know, you're taking one or two of them out the ball with your own carrying. So
and then once you split the pass away, then you've actually got, ideally, if it's to Trent, if it's to Szoboszlai, if it's to whoever, you've got usually a passer who's able to pick out a pass while in space. And you've just caused a little bit of instability by creating a little micro transition, pulling players out, a bit of chaos, which is exactly what you want, especially if you're Liverpool, because you want to play in those moments and you want to have that first pass that's forward as an opponent's out of shape and position. Yeah. That is one of the key sort of ideas as well of the counter press. As soon as you win the ball, next pass is forward. So if you're creating mini transitions, the idea is the same, right? Pull opponents out of position, and if there's space there, play into it straight away.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that VVD was actually taking the role of the junior partner in this game, because VVD only had 5 aerials and Konate had 10, and he only had 4 clearances and Konate had 9. So it's yeah. If teams want to think they can take the fight to Ibou and just ignore VVD's side, then bring it on. They're not going to have much joy based on this evidence, are they, Hamzah?
No, like you said, 4 progressive passes as well. To add in, yeah.
11, and he had 11 passes into the final third, and that's not long balls into the final third. That's just passes into the final third to a Liverpool player. That's excellent.
And the good thing is now that Robertson, as Bart's mentioned earlier, Robertson is returning to training, which means that Gomez suddenly is now back in contention to play. Robertson and Trent are back in training, which means Gomez is now an option for centre-back, which is great because Konate's had to have a period where he's been pretty much the starting centre-back along Van Dijk with Kwanzaa as the only sort of cover. So now there's an opportunity to rotate him and rest him a bit more with Gomez back in. So yeah, keep him fresh as well.
Barts, have you got anything from your stats pack on Ibou that you wanted to we haven't covered?
I was going to say he's got one key pass in there, which is probably, if I'm being honest, the key moment of the game. Bang into he's part. That's the pass that sets Jones. Up to Jones, who goes to Jota, who rolls it to Darwin, and strike it home for 1-0.
Yeah,
we speak about a lot in the previous pods, similar games early in the season where it didn't really matter what player, but we weren't taking that chance to get the early 1-0 and go. I know it's not early, but it's early second half, isn't it? And if he's key in that, he's literally played that ball in, like you said, not a lofted. It's with purpose into the right player, and we make something from it and score. And that's exactly what you want from your centre halves. We used to VVD pinging one out to Mo. Well, this time, as you said, Konate's on the ball. Parsons neat and tidy, but that time fires it into the front, a bit like Gomez would do, to be fair. And we play and score from there. I don't think you can ask any more. I think he's been, like you said, his ability on the ball has been his night and day, I think, in the last run of games, the last 4 games. I think he's really come on. Whereas before, I think we even chatted about him being a bit of a bunny in some of the games because people were just letting him have the ball and he'd give it away. Yeah. Whereas now it's a real strength, I think, to have that alternative ability to a little bit of carry, a little bit of a punt. It was almost a combination of Matip and Gomez's ability on the ball, which is, again, a nice option to have when we start, hopefully, starting to rotate our centre halves again.
Yeah, for sure. And just on the heavy metal stuff again, Sai's posted in our group that we won the running 113 to 109. 113 is a pretty big number, and we didn't get that many times last season for sure. And 156 sprints to us, 146 to Bournemouth. So these are all good signs, Barts, right?
Yeah, these are all good signs. I mean, Hamza's made the point about rhythm and the rest of it, but I also think as much as a Klopp likes to keep going, I think we needed that breakaway to just recharge a little bit, and then turned it on second half, and that is. I mean, you guys chatted the pod before I wasn't on, but Bournemouth is not an easy game to go to. The weather was atrocious, right? And we've gone there and outrun them and out sprinted them.
Yeah.
And to be quite frank, I know the Monte Carlo says that 2-1 was the more likely result at 15% rather than 1.
I haven't even done the match summary.
I was going to say match summary, but I still think going to Bournemouth and winning 4-0 is an outstanding result.
It's worth noting that how much of that Monte Carlo was just, after 90 minutes, because that Bournemouth did nothing for 90 minutes, and then they piled it on in garbage time. So, bring it on, I say.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
But Liverpool also didn't do anything for 45.
This is true. Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
So all the shots in the match were outside the box in the first half, I think.
Yeah, there wasn't a shot in. I think it was the first half of the Premier League all season where there hasn't been a shot in the penalty box.
Yeah,
from either team. So just on the match summary, we had 61% of the ball. Bournemouth had both of their big chances after the 90-minute mark, and the two chances they had were a combined 0.9 xg, and they were 1.4 on. Believe it, the overall match xg on FBref was 1.5 to us, 1.5 to 1.4 to Bournemouth, and so much of that was after the 90-minute mark, and an even higher proportion of their XT was after that 90-minute mark as well, with those two kind of balls down the channel for the shots outside the box from Brooks and Kiefer Moore. And in terms of the other ones, it was 15 shots to 11. 14 shots to 11 for us, 7 shots on target to 1. But 4 big chances to 2. But we scored 2 of our big chances, 3 big chances to 2, of which we scored 2 of them. But so I just wanted to finish off on the heavy metal stuff. I mean, one of the things that I noticed this when I was generally reviewing the Premier League's week stats is that when you list all the players in the Premier League this game week by total duels, we had 4 in the top 20.
Yeah, that surprised. When Hamzah was talking about duel rate, I was looking down the list of our players, and there's Mac has done well, as you quite rightly said, but there's several others that have got a very high percentage of duel.
Mac got 20. That was 3rd in the Premier League this game week. The top was actually Raul Jimenez of Fulham. Didn't see that game. But Jota with 16, Canate with 15, and Conor Bradley with 15. Yeah. And we called out Bradley after the Fulham pod.
Yeah, Fulham
where he had 19 on his full debut. So that's 34 duels in 2 matches for Conor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that gives us a clue about the type of boy he's going to be. I think he's going to be a warrior.
Oh, he is. I mean, you must have seen. We all saw the challenges he put in this game, where he put his forearm in someone's face and put him off the pitch. I mean, that's not someone who's shirking from anything. Considering he is literally, he's not a boy, but he's a very young player out there against some experienced pros. Tough, and absolutely did not let anyone else. He was there. He was buying into the project of we're here to get a win, and I thought he was outstanding. To be fair,
so I think next fatigue index he'll probably have Marty Bloffram back on, and Marty's a fellow Ulsterman, and he'll probably be waxing lyrical about Conor Bradley.
Sure, as he should be, right?
Absolutely. So from a small rural part of Northern Ireland, and he's tough as old boots. So I think it's fair to say,
for sure.
But before we go on to the fun stuff, Hamzah, were you impressed with our general feistiness and competitiveness, even though there wasn't much quality?
Wasn't impressed with it, as in, given the situation that Liverpool are in with injuries and everything like that, that is just necessary. I think that's what Klopp would communicate before the match.
It's the minimum, isn't it? It's the bare minimum you need to do to get the platform, to establish that platform.
Exactly, because he would have also explained that some of the front three aren't playing the right in their favourite position. So all the players understand that. So the point is that because all the full squad isn't fit, there's been a lot of matches, injuries, blah blah blah. I think the point is, you're going to have to fight today, and that's going to be how we win this match. I imagine that would have been the talk that Klopp gave the team pre-match. I wasn't sort of like really sort of surprised or super impressed by it, but because, as Bart's mentioned, away game at Bournemouth, windy day, wet, bit cold, that's probably what you're going to need to do. And in the title race now, I think Liverpool feel they're really in it, as they're 5 points clear. That sort of battling spirit is just requisite.
Yeah, just I've got a few more stats on that as well. Just because we had 61% of the ball in this match, which is a good chunk of dominance, right? But we won the tackle count 50-35. We won the clearance count 26-20. We won the blocks count 20-9, and we won the aerials 22-10. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you expect to see when somebody only has 40% of the ball. But we had those numbers of dominance with 60%. So that really shows you how combative the team was, right?
100%. 100%. And as Hamzah said, we that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to go to
You earn the
like
right,
that.
yeah.
You have to earn the right to play. If you're going to win the league, you've got to go there with a depleted squad and you've got to get a win. And we didn't just get a win, we got a 4-0 win.
So let's talk about the forward, Barts. First half, what did you see? What does your Stats Network show, or Stats Pack show about the front three and the connections and how we played?
Yeah, I was looking at this.
Did they show? Was there enough data to get them to show on the charts?
So in terms of touches, I have to be honest, Diaz. I mean, I don't know what people thought, but on first watch, I thought Diaz had played all right. But when you look at the viz, his touches are not enough in the second half to even form a zone.
Yeah.
And his zone in the first half is very small. The connections first half are minimal between the front three. In fact, they don't pass to each other.
Yeah.
Over 4 times. But having said that, if you extend the plots as I do to up to first sub, you suddenly get a very good pass network with depth and width, all boxes covered.
Yeah.
You have Jota in zone 14. You've got the 2 half spaces covered, and then you've got a nice midfield. And to be fair, the fullbacks are both high and wide as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's
no inversion required.
No inversion required. For me, it's a very clear Mackey's on his own in there as a 6. CJ's dropping in off the ball, I think, to support what you see on the touch zones and the off-ball work. But on the ball, definitely CJ is up there in the left half space. Elliott is doing his thing roughly in the right half space. And he's more come out after the second half, must have improved him because his average position comes right into right half space, whereas up to half time, he's basically playing right wing. And if you look at it, just attacking half only passes. Again, that change at half time, you have a pass network that is high colour, as in high success rate, high amount of connections on the right side up to half time, post half time. So up to the first set of subs, you've got a much more of a matrix across the front three with linking, good links in and out, triangles all over the front 6 players. So I think that change definitely at half time, as Hamzah probably, referenced earlier on, made a significant difference. I think also, I don't know about you guys, I just thought our tempo was better second half. We just came out and we were first half, not just us, but also Bournemouth balls were going out of play. There was sort of a bit, it's the weather. But I think second half, I don't know, it just seemed to me that came out, the tempo was sharper. If you look,
they had the hairdryer, but do you want to win this league or not, lads?
That's that kind of thing. But equally, if you look at the passing chains, our pass length goes down after half time. Yeah. And only increases again once we've got a 3-0 lead.
Yeah. To be fair, Hamzah, that was one thing that Klopp said to you in your post-match question. He said that we played too many long balls in the first half, and we played too many, and we played the long balls at the wrong time and the short balls at the wrong time. So, and he said we didn't get the balance right at all.
Yes, that's right. Specifically, what you just mentioned there about getting the balance right and doing the things at the wrong time. And the reason he mentioned on the left that there was a bit of difficulty was because Darwin, he says, was a bit too static. He was waiting for the passes in behind. And at the same time as that, Joe Gomez was a bit too deep because Gomez was a bit worried about the counter-attack. So he was sort of playing a sort of halfway house, tucking in sort of role in possession rather than, as Bart's just mentioned, playing higher and wider.
Yeah.
And that meant the spacing between the furthest forward on the left side and the deepest on the left side was too great. And then Jones was having to fill all that space himself. However, by moving Diaz over to left, putting him in his natural position, tweaking Gomez's position, asking Jota, probably the most...
Well, Klopp called it their A1 positions, didn't he? Putting them in their A1 positions, and the only one who had to make a compromise to their A1 position was Jota. So instead of compromising 4 players, he was only compromising 1 player, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes it can be as simple as just putting their players in the best position. Yeah. Sometimes it's a matter of putting the players in the position where they'll be most effective against their opponents.
Yeah.
And on this case, it was a former rather than the latter. But yeah, this is another game this season where Klopp and Pep Linders have tweaked things at half time and come out the better for it.
Are you saying we won the tactics again? 2 weeks in a row?
Yes. And at the same time, what Liverpool showed in that second half was really, really good clinicalness in front of goal as well.
Oh yeah,
that massively helps. If you look at the sequence of the first goal as well, the snappiness of the passing, 1, 2, 3, 4, bang, goal. As in, like Iraola in his press conference afterwards also mentioned that he said that sort of goal is really, really hard to play to defend against. When a team puts a sequence like that together at such speed, there's not actually too much you can do. That level of quality, there's even. You could have a really, really good tactical game, and if an opponent comes up with that goal against you, you're going to have to go, actually, that was actually, there's not too much you can do about that because the individual quality of the players just synced up so well. So a mix of tactics, but also there is that sort of variability that just comes with players playing well and them taking control of the moment.
And Barts, and I said he was the only player in his not A1 position, but Diogo Jota was off the right, but right from the start of the second half, he was tremendous.
I thought it was outstanding. I thought he was playing a match, to be fair. I mean, Mac probably unlucky there because I thought it was his best performance in the Liverpool shirt, but I mean, Jota assisted 2 goals.
But it was his carrying as well, wasn't it?
It was carrying. We have always said this. Do you know what I mean? Jota has this ability to work across the front 3. Yes, I think you and I both prefer him down the middle because he's deadly with finishing, as he proved in this game, to be fair. But he can, once it's in the final third, I think his link-up play with other players, his carrying, his passing, his awareness of what needs to be done to create the best opportunity to score from, I think it's exceptional. And he proved it again in this game. He was the right position. Even the first goal, not the first goal, the goal where Cody lays it into him. Was that the third or second? I can't remember. But the way he peels off, so he doesn't get sucked into the opportunity. He sees it developing. Cody picks it up, just rolls it into his path, and he's literally there. One touch. I'm just going to put this in the bottom corner. Thank you very much. That's the game. It's just that awareness around the box, and it changed. He can do that in any of the front 3 positions.
Yeah, and looking at your stats pack as well, Jota 7 passes to Darwin Nunez. I mean that for connectivity between the front 3, that's quite a high number, 7, right?
That is really high. He's also, I'm just trying to get to the right page. That's 100% success rate as well, and 2 of those key. So that's a sign of someone really. That's the kind of stuff that Mo does, and he's doing that on basically. I think it's probably a half football, if I'm being honest. Because first off, I don't think he did much, but I just thought it was a very good. So I didn't do much in terms of that level of creativity.
None of the front 3 could get into it in the first half.
I also thought was really impressive was, and I think although the change we talk about being attacking wise, I think it also helps out Bradley because Bradley then. Jota is, I think, better off the ball from that side. Do you know what I mean? He's working hard to support the fullback. And I think Bradley's choices in going forward were better because he knew he had someone to work out and help the other side. And I think it helped Gomez the other side. So I think that change also helped our fullbacks become more in the game and link in. So Gomez and Diaz have played together before, right? So they know where they're going to be. I just think knowing... Yes, it's players in the right positions, but it's also combinations with players. So Diaz and Jones have played on the same side and they've played with Joe. So that left-hand triangle, as you'll see in the pass network, improved post second half, right?
Yeah.
The right hand side, again, those players there's Bradley's the newbie, but they can link better because they're in better positions. So I think there's a lot to be said about our connections all over the pitch being adjusted by just going, do you know what? You go and play in that position, you play in that position, and the whole team becomes more effective, even though it's the same 11.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just go back to possession control. Si would have made the point if he was on. Jota's possession control this season is -12. Now, that sounds really bad because it's a low number. But considering when you think he was -23 for the rest of his Liverpool career, that also tells you something about Jota. He's being a bit more careful with the ball, and he's keeping his combative nature because he's always been a good presser. Darwin Nunez has improved from -29 possession control last season to -11 this season.
It just shows you the change in player, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's night and day with him, it really is. And today Darwin got the finishes, you know.
Yeah, Darwin 11.3k as well, second in the team behind Mac for total distance. That's unusual for forward. That's unusual for forward.
Yeah.
To be second, yeah.
Hello, I'm here to annoy you. I'm here to annoy you into listening to more of me and more of others on EPL Index. We don't just have the Anfield Index stuff. We've got EPL Index as well, which covers the entirety of the Premier League. And we have 3 podcasts and a whole bunch of really good writing on EPLindex.com. The podcasts are my own Two-Footed podcast, which is every day at 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, covering the whole league. We have A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. You know Tadiwa, he does Anfield Index. He presents A Tad Predictable before every Premier League match week. And then Kevin DeVries and his crew on the EPL Roundtable, they're every week after the Premier League match week. So make sure you listen to everything we're doing on EPL Index and follow us there on Twitter at EPL Index. Thank you. Bye-bye.
But I think some of that might have come... No, it wouldn't have been one run, but I think he was helping out quite a bit latter of the second half, which again, that's an improvement. That's something we should be singing about. We always talk about in this Liverpool system, heavy metal, every player has to put the work rate in as a bare minimum. Yeah, it's something we have a couple of players about.
When you've got that heavy metal with the ability to compress the pitch, with the intensity and with the pass completion, you haven't got somebody you haven't got to carry somebody who's a 70% passer in the team anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes all the pieces are slotting into place.
Yeah, at the right time as well.
Yeah. So Hamzah, talk about an all-important first goal, because the team was struggling. I think they're looking at the XG race chart for the match. It was 0.1 at half time. It was neck and neck. And we really needed something to go for us. And big Darwin Nunez comes up with an excellent finish. Really excellent finish.
Yeah, I think this goal is just a reminder of how sometimes you watch football and you might hear a punter that says, "Oh yeah, I could do that." But every element of this goal, no ordinary punter could have been a part of. If you, for example, you take Curtis Jones, who receives the ball, a long pass on his chest,
40-yarder,
perfect control, and he doesn't let the ball. He hits the ball first time. There's no control of the ball with his foot. It's immediate, straight into Jota. First time release into Nunez. First time finish, and that is excellent, unbelievably quick, slick football. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's a reminder of just how good these players are. You see that and you go, "Oh yeah, well,
I could do that."
That level is just way beyond. I mean, you could spend hours and hours and hours on FIFA trying to do that, and you wouldn't be able to do it. Or EA Sports, whatever it's called now. It was slick back to front. Canard played the ball forward. Really.
You would have thought you would not have been surprised if you'd have just seen the highlights of that. You would have assumed that was Mo Salah passing that ball for that assist, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly that. And the way Nunez took it as well. I know we've just added a little bit of detail on Nunez, but
he didn't try to blam it. He placed it, side-footed it, placed it, didn't he? Yeah,
which was one of the criticisms. Well, that's one of the things I think Daniel Sturridge mentioned when he did that analysis for Nunez earlier this season.
Yeah,
that his sort of that Nunez's sort of archetypal finish is to hit it as hard as he can. And Sturridge said you just got to learn how to have different tools in your box and use those too. And that one, when the ball's coming across you quickly, just use the pace on the ball and guide it around the goalkeeper. Really, really nice finish. And one of the stats for Nunez, he had the highest XG chain, I think, of any player in the team.
Did he really?
Yeah, it was. I've just lost my sheets and have I lost it? Oh, I've got it. Here we go. 1.28 XG chain, which is more than Gakpo's 0.74 and Jota's 0.71. And now he's also a 10 and 10 in terms of goals and assists, the first player to do that this season. In
all competitions. He's the first Premier League player to do it in all competitions, isn't he, this season? So
yeah.
Well, to get 10 and 10 like that in his second Liverpool season, outstanding. Barts, we go 1-0 up. We continue to play well and take the game to Fulham. We were definitely dominating at this point, but then we make some changes as well.
Yeah, I think it was Cody coming on left wing. Did Grav come on at the same time?
Yeah, Cody and Grav come on. Diaz and Elliott came off. Which,
as I said, at the time I was a little bit surprised with Diaz, but looking back at the stats, I'm not, because I think his influence in the game was not as much as you might think. And Cody again coming on left wing, which I know you guys have mentioned before in previous pods. I think he's got an assist, hasn't he, in this? And I'll just check whether he's got how many key passes he's got. But I thought another good performance from him playing on that side. So that's one.
Yeah, it's good to see that he can do that role as well for the team as well.
Exactly.
And Grav came on, and I think he certainly had a better game in this one, better cameo than he has had in the last few. He was probably more effective than Elliott in his time played as well.
I would say so. Yeah, I think it was 66% pass rate. He's probably not the greatest for him, but he had some good touches. His duels were okay. I think he had four duels won in terms of ground duel, which is something you were having a go about.
Yeah.
So I think his connections, just having a quick scan if he actually appeared on any of the connections. Give me 2 seconds. I don't think he did. He wasn't on long enough. No, so he wasn't on long enough to create any massive connections. But yeah, I think this is an improvement purely because if you look at those defensive stats, he actually registered some insignificant numbers and a percentage of we're looking for in terms of a midfielder. So yeah, I think this was an improvement for him. And I think he was involved with a third goal. Is that right? Was it a fourth? Is that from Grav? Have I got that written down right? Grav into... No, it's not. It's the third goal. Grav into Darwin back to the back post, and then Bradley finds it. Yeah, I think it's... So he's involved in some of the build-up for some of our goals, which again was something he just hasn't been involved. So yeah, it was good to see.
Yes, it certainly was. We actually haven't even mentioned the controversy of the first half, but not Patrick Kluivert. Patrick Kluivert. Justin
that would be controversial. Yeah.
Justin Kluivert. That was to say, and he didn't even get a foul. There was not even a foul given against this.
It's the thing we always say, isn't it? To be honest with you, we can debate all day whether this is red or not, right? Because we did about the CJ thing, yeah. But it's the inconsistency of the fact that he didn't even get a booking. I can kind of, I just think there's so many instances this season, even not just CJ, but others, where that type of tackle has been given a yellow at bare minimum or a red. And yet that tackle on that day, he didn't get a booking. And the ref wasn't even that keen to even look at it. It's a bit, I just thought the inconsistencies of referees, and I think also straight after half time, Jota gets clipped on the edge of the box, which I think on 51 minutes, I think that's a penalty.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't even know why. I cannot fathom why they didn't go for a review or anything.
Yeah. So, and then Diogo Jota takes over. Which was your favourite of the two finishes, Bots?
I like the one touch first one. To be honest with you, just a little bit, I think a bit further out. The second one, he's made it. He sort of makes his own assist, doesn't he? Miss-hits it and then slides.
Well, he has an air shot, and then he's still got the composure just to leather it across the keeper into the far corner.
And the only thing I like about that was the Bournemouth fans are busy giving him a load of stick for missing it, and then he slots it straight in the net. But no, the first one for me was just the move and the finish. It was just, I thought that was beautiful. Yeah, that was really good. I haven't got the XG for those.
Both just inside the post.
Yeah, both,
and hit really hard inside the post. Yeah.
Interestingly, about a point, 0.13 and 0.11 XG for both for those.
Yeah,
two.
neither of the Jota ones were big chances. So he got two goals from 0.25 XG.
Yeah. Whereas Darwin with a 0.5 and a 0.37. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Hamzah, is Diogo Jota the most underrated player in the Premier League?
Maybe. I guess so. I'd have to
Do you think there's any fans outside? Do you think there's any fans outside Liverpool and any people in the media outside Liverpool who actually rate him?
The thing is, I tend to talk to people about football that know about football.
Okay.
And most of them know that Jota's very good. I imagine when Si talks to other coaches as well, he also has the same sort of response. I don't spend too much time listening to people on social media because it's quite evident that he's a really good player. If you look at his output, I mean, you take the two finishes that you mentioned, right? So the first one, 0.06 XG, but 0.27 XG on target. So in terms of shooting goals added for that goal, that's 0.21. He's improved it by 21 percentage points. That shot. And then you take the second one, which was an XG of 0.08 to an XG on target of 0.19. And again, with the quality of shot, he's improved it. And that bit, we're just focusing on his finishing. And as we mentioned before, what he can do is all the in-between stuff. He can link play, he can provide assists, he finds space quite well. He has played as a 9 and has played as a false 9, so as one that can drop in. He's able to dribble really well and spark attacks with those dribbles. He's quick off the mark. He does everything really well. And he's really good at headering as well. I think he's well appreciated by Liverpool fans. I don't know if other fans regard him the same way, but he's clearly just one of the best players in the league. I can't say too much about whether he's underrated or not. I think on this pod at least, he's given the appropriate respect that he deserves.
No, and to be fair, I will blow my own trumpet here, is that when Gags will vouch for me on this, in the day we did the signing pods, I was the only person on the pods who was more excited about the signing of Diogo Jota than Thiago Alcantara. That's how excited I'm about Diogo. So anyway, I've been on the Jota bandwagon from the start, but yes, I'm not going to make any apologies for that. But I think the point is that his numbers are so good and have been right from the moment he signed. He's literally just a whisker below Mo Salah over the whole period in terms of the underlying numbers and the shot volume, the dribble volume, yeah. And he doesn't take any pens. He's just a brilliant player. He it's very rare to have high output and efficiency. Maybe someone like Daniel Sturridge, you've got to go back to Barts for somebody who's like high output with the efficiency.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not going to say a big shout, but I think he's going to be a large. If he can stay fit in this form, we're going to have a very successful season.
Yeah.
Particularly this period now where, we'd always planned to not be with Mo, but I think we'd always said, even before the pods I'd missed, we needed one of the front three or two of the front three to catch fire. Well, Josh has just stood up there in the first real game after Mo's not being here and produced that performance, and Darwin's got to go on it. I just think that's if we can ride that and that carries on, I think this will be he'll be a key player in our running, and we're going to need him. He is whenever he's been fit. He's been phenomenal. I really do. I think you're right. He was, in many, many ways, he's in a bit of a shout, and I don't really get killed for it, but he might have had more impact to Liverpool than Thiago, to be fair.
Yeah.
I love Thiago as a player, but he is largely played very limited minutes, whereas Jota, when he's played more minutes, I think has had more output. Is that fair?
Yeah. I think so. No, I think it's certainly an argument. That's for sure. It's a currently close one, if anything else. So just to summarise, Diogo Jota, 38 goals, 10 assists. That's a goal involvement in the Premier League since he signed of 112 minutes. So when you think about Robbie Fowler's best season for goal involvement was 1995-96 when he scored 33 goals, I think. His goal involvement was 107 minutes, and that's Robbie's best season. And Jota is on 112 minutes since he signed in the Premier League. So that tells you something for a start. And he's outperforming his XG by 4.9 goals since he signed in the Premier League. And personally, my favourite thing about Jota is his three-footedness. 8 headers, 11 left-footers, and 19 right-footed goals are his breakdown since in the league since he started, with 3.3 shots per game, which is high. But there's not many strikers that get over 3 per game, is there?
No, definitely not.
Just like maybe the top 10, 15 in the Premier League only.
Yeah, I think again your Sturridge reference is pretty good for that, and our famous front three. You know, that's an outstanding stat from Jota, really. To be fair, considering some of the games he's odd. You know what I mean? He comes on.
He's barely involved. Yeah, exactly.
He's barely involved. You know, and then he pops up with 3 shots. You think,
yeah, 41% on target, which is good. It's above average there. And his career, Liverpool Premier League career shot conversion is 19.3%. That's just outrageous. Yeah. Over 5,000 minutes, 5,500 minutes, and he's 0.69 expected goals plus expected assists per 90. And I did see Patrick had just posted while we've been podding about Squawker. I've actually put the shot breakdown as well as I've given you the goal breakdown for Jota. So he's 80 headed shots, 140 left foot shots, and 162 right foot shots. Is there another player in world football who has such an even distribution amongst all, head left and right? What do you think, Hamzah? Can you think of anybody?
None that spring to mind right at the moment. But what I would say though is he is running a little bit hot.
He is.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you just mentioned the conversion rate. His career conversion rate is 0.18 in the Premier League and Championship.
And that includes Wolves as well, so that's high. Yeah.
But this season, like you said, going at 0.269 or 0.27. And of that XG overperformance you mentioned, so he is up 3.7 this season.
Yeah.
But that means 0.44 per 90, which is really high. And his average for overperforming his XG is actually 0.01. So he's super high. And in terms of XG per shot, actually, he's only going at 0.13, which is less than he had last season, which is 0.1. And the season.
So, what you're saying is that he might hit the post a couple of times, and instead of the goal back of the net, or something like that, or just go the other side of the post.
Yeah, and I guess if this golden patch just happens to coincide with when Salah's out, that's just a bit of luck.
Well, this is what we always used to say: so long as 2 of the front 3 are running okay, the team is going to do well. It's when only 1 of the front 3 is, in form scoring, that's when the team struggles.
Yeah, and it's just there's a piece in the Opta Analyst today by David Seeger, just to add a little bit more colour on it. I think he was responding to Jamie Carragher's point that Jota might be the best finisher that Liverpool have had. And of Liverpool players since 2003-04, only one forward has a higher shot conversion rate, and this forward has to have 20 goals or more. You guys can guess if you want who it is.
Sturridge.
No.
What was it again?
Only one Liverpool player has a higher shot conversion rate than Diogo Jota since 2003.
Yeah.
Torres.
So Jota's second, Torres is fourth, Sturridge is sixth.
Oof.
This guy is an icon for his left-footed finish in Madrid.
Divock Origi.
It is, yes. Conversion rate is
The problem is, right? He's got 20% shot conversion at taking one shot per game.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll just quickly run through the top 5 for shot conversion. So it's Origi, Jota, Mane, Torres, Salah, and then Sturridge. And then Firmino, and then Suarez. But yeah, so Jota is second on that list.
Yeah. But I think people say Heung-min Son for shooting with both feet, but I don't know about Son getting many headers compared to Jota. I will look into that.
That's a good shout. I think that all-roundedness, like you said, three-footedness is I think what makes Jota fairly unique and an incredible player to have. I mean, I know we'd start him, but many wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of have that full.
I think everybody starts him now, don't they?
Yeah, they've got to. They've got him realistically. They've got to find a player to play him in the front line. Definitely.
Yeah. And the other man you just mentioned there, Hamzah, who's outperformed in his XG in this game, Darwin Nunez comes up with a second in stoppage time.
I mean, we are starting to think about like how much weight we should sort of assign to garbage time. Given we mentioned like the Brooks chance and more chances were both in garbage time, but
we'll make an exception when it's a Liverpool goal.
To be honest,
what it's okay to do is ignore the bits where you think you might talk about if it was 0-0 and is really important, but when you get to 3-0 up, you kind of forget those things. But we'll talk about goals.
Yeah, the delivery from Gomez was great, and I thought Nunez would probably go with his left foot. We went with outside his right. Probably makes the chance slightly harder, but he gets it in anyway. Nice position between the right centre back and centre back. Yeah, really sharp run, and I think so that he had a run. I think of 1 goal in 14 matches, but the shot rate really didn't really drop off, and the XG was there. So yeah, great. It's good to see he's got form, and like you said, if he and Jota get form until
can we have
that's great.
Can we have a shout out to both fullbacks getting an assist? It's like back to the glory days of Trent and Robbo.
It is.
Well, I'm not going to say. Can I just say, Conor Bradley, right? 3 shots, 2 in the box, the other one in the D, 0.27 XG, and an assist, 2 chances created. He had some good attacking numbers against Fulham as well.
To be fair, he turned his shot into a 0.45 post shot. I mean, that ain't bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I've been very impressed with him. When you see a youngster come in and you hear about it, but to him to come in and play like that in his first Premier League game as well. Yeah. I'm with you. I thought that was outstanding. And Gomez as well, very underrated. Gomez has just slotted in at left back on his wrong foot and played really, I think, outstandingly well.
Is Joe trying too hard for this debut goal though? Are there too many shots now from Joe?
I don't think he's the thing I like about Joe is he's system first. So correct me if I'm wrong, and someone will put out when he's had a shot in time when it's been drawn, I think. But I don't think he's trying it when we're tying in the game. Do you know what I mean? I think he's doing it at a time when it's the right opportunity to have a shot, or he's taking a stupid one on when we're 2-3 up. I just think Joe's a very system-orientated player. And if he scores, it'd be amazing. I really would. But no, I think they've both been outstanding. Beck, I thought, did well going forward at the back, maybe a little bit. I'm not sure whether he was deeper for the last chance they had in garbage time, maybe. I might be slightly out of sync, but it'd be interesting to see if Beck, what he can do in the FA Cup game as well, because I've heard good reviews about Beck. So, be interesting.
Yeah.
Could save us some money with the pair of those two.
Well, absolutely. I mean, so on a pod of positives, Hamzah, is there anything you had that you noted down that you wanted to discuss and you haven't got out yet?
Yeah, I don't think Bournemouth deserved to lose 4-0. I thought Liverpool were really clinical, and in those moments that Liverpool were clinical, they were excellent, and it's hard to keep pace with them. But I think the scoreline is a bit harsh on them. I don't
Isn't it clear though that it's this Darwin Nunez' favourite ground though, because it's the only place he's the only place this season where he's outperformed his XG, and he's done it twice. Actually, no, St James's Park as well. Sorry, it was the other one.
I guess so.
Maybe it's something about the wind that he likes, or the seaside.
We'll get him to Turf Moor then. But I thought Bournemouth were hard done by the scoreline. I thought they were quite competitive in the first half. But yeah, that's also with all the mitigation that we mentioned earlier. They've got a lot of injuries, not much rhythm, and then found a way to win to just keep themselves top of the league.
But we did owe them for that abysmal 1-0 last season, though, didn't we? After the worst thing about that was it was straight after the Man United 7-0, wasn't it? It was just horrendous game, wasn't it?
And the penalties,
and we owed them for that.
But I think it was a solid second half performance that was embellished a bit by moments of real special play. So I thought the performance was good, and it was accentuated by moments that were really special, flecked within it. Solid performance, particularly in the second half, which we seem to be doing a lot this season, just sort of turning it on. But there was Andrew Beasley stat, 8 goals in the first half, 8 goal difference in the first half, sorry.
Plus 8,
and then plus 41 in the second. Which is bonkers.
One thing about this team is we continue to be very good front runners, and we've been good front runners all season. But we're getting better when the game is tied. That's for sure.
And substitutes are obviously playing a key part in that, because they're often the ones that are contributing in the second half, coming on from the bench.
Yeah. And final word to you, Mr. B.
Yeah, no, I thought it was an outstanding second half performance. I would agree with Hamzah. I thought Bournemouth were a little bit hard done by. I mean, their variety in creating XG was across 4 different modalities, whereas we only had 2 regular playing corners. They had 4. But I think also this game sums up football. It's the sharp end, the finishing that matters. They didn't convert. I think they flatlined their post-shot XG, whereas we outperformed their XG with our post-shot. So to me, we had outstanding quality in the final third. It took us a bit of time to work it out and create opportunity for them to excel. And when they did, they took the game away from Bournemouth. Bournemouth had some opportunities in those areas with their front players, didn't. And I think sometimes football comes down to that. Even though I thought we were outstanding second half, I thought.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Hamzah. Thank you, Barts. We will be back for another Cup doubleheader against Fulham and Norwich, probably recording next Monday UK time. Until then, up fucking Reds.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.